Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, Escape from Transylvania. The goddess next door and John Haynes must escape a horde of vampires on the hunt in this horror-filled Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Escape from Transylvania in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. With the recent announcement by the screenwriter of Solo, a Star Wars movie, that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual, I see a desperate need for black-owned black media by black men and controlled by black men. Because those who control the money control the media, and those who control the media control the narrative. And the people who control the money and the media and the narrative can tell a story about a group of people, and that story can be something that can be absolutely false. And when it comes down to black men, the Hollywood machine is looking to create a new narrative regarding black men, one that literally degrades the image of the black man in their media, and they hope to use that narrative to tell a story to the next generation of black men that promotes the whole idea of sexual deviancy as a social norm. And this is why we need black-owned black media, owned and controlled by black men, because the only way we can present a counterpoint to this type of mainstream media is with black-owned black media, because black media owned by white people is not going to go out of its way to present a positive image of black men, black manhood, or black masculinity. No, when it comes down to so-called mainstream black media, oftentimes mainstream black media goes right along with the white supremacists who control Big Six media. And when it comes down to Big Six media, over the last 8 to 9 years, there's been an escalation in promoting media that pushes a narrative to degrade the black male image and efforts to feminize the black male image. Now, I've written about this over the last 8 years, and I started back in 2010 when I wrote a blog on my Shawn James Black Freelance Writer blog talking about black men in dresses, entertainment, or emasculation. Now, back in 2010, Tyler Perry was the black man of the day, and he was sitting there with his Medea, and I noticed this trend towards putting black men in dresses, having black men dress up in drag, and promoting the whole idea that the black man should be effeminate and effeminized. And we've seen this all throughout the media with these movies like Big Mama's House, these Tyler Perry Medea movies, and even some of these television shows out here where all the time we saw a black man in a dress. Now, this whole campaign has escalated over the last 8 or 9 years, and we've gone from the black man in a dress to the black man as a homosexual. And this, again, is an escalation where they take the black man and they continue to try to feminize the black man and associate him with being feminine or effeminate, or associate him and then later turning this into wholesale promotion of homosexuality. And again, this is designed to degrade the black male image and designed to degrade the black man and show that he cannot be a heterosexual man on the same level of a white man, or a black man being on the same level and as being capable a leader or as responsible as a white man. So they want to find a way to degrade the black male image, degrade black masculinity, and degrade the whole image of a black man having manhood, and promoting the whole idea of responsible, capable black males who are capable of being heterosexual men and being capable of being fathers, leaders of their community, and men who control their home and can control their community. Because in white supremacy, the homosexual male is considered on the same level as the female. And that's why they want to promote the whole image of a black man being effeminized, and homosexual. But I notice with Solo, a Star Wars movie, we have gone past the black man being in a dress and the black man being homosexual to the promotion of the idea of the black man being a sexual deviant. And this is a further escalation of the campaign by Hollywood and the white supremacists in Hollywood to degrade the image of the black man, the heterosexual black man, in media. And the reason why they want to degrade the heterosexual black man's image, again, is because they do not want people to associate positive character traits with heterosexual black men. Because if we associate positive character traits with heterosexual black men, such as leadership, confidence, fatherhood, masculinity, and manhood, that means that that black man is on the same level as a white man, and white supremacy doesn't want anyone to see a black man on the same level as a white man. So they want to be able to find a new way to degrade the black male image now that they've feminized the black man's image and now that they've homosexualized the black man's image. They want to further bring the black man's image into the ground, and the way they're going to do it now is by promoting the whole idea that a black man is a sexual deviant. And this whole argument about the black man being a sexual deviant, this is something that takes us all the way back to Jim Crow, because back in the Jim Crow period, this is how white supremacists saw black men. They saw black men as having no control over their sexual urges. They saw black men as not having control over their sexual desires. And they saw the black man as someone who literally would give into their lusts and their desires whenever they saw any woman, and especially if they saw a white woman. And the whole argument of Lando Calrissian being a pansexual takes us back to those old Jim Crow stereotypes regarding black male sexuality and black male lack of self-control, because a pansexual is an individual who feels that they can act on any sort of sexual attraction, whether it be an attraction for a man, an attraction for a woman, an attraction for a child, an attraction for an animal, or attraction for an object, or an attraction for a plant. So your pansexual isn't just a heterosexual. Your pansexual is a homosexual. Your pansexual is a pedophile. And your pansexual is into bestiality or other fetish behaviors. And this is what makes your pansexual a sexual deviant. And what these white supremacists in media want to do with Solo, a Star Wars movie, and Lando Calrissian is they want to start the social engineering campaign where they present the idea in people's minds and program people to start believing that black men are sexual deviants. And this is why we need black-owned black media. Because in black-owned black media, owned and controlled by black men, we can see who black men truly are, and we can see who heterosexual black men truly are. Because when black men take black dollars and create their own media, they can create a narrative that tells the truth about heterosexual black men, deconstructs many of the false ideas white supremacists have about black men in media, and refute those ideas that many of these white supremacists are trying to promote in their mainstream media. And this is why we need to have black-owned black media, owned and controlled by black men, because when it comes down to heterosexual black men have been under attack for the last, as I see it, 50 years. And when it comes down to heterosexual black men, we have not been able to fight back because the mainstream media has brainwashed a lot of people to believe the ideas about black men that are socially put in most of this feminist and gynocentric media. And that media often paints a very negative picture of black men. And the only men who can refute these narratives are black men. And the only men who have been trying to fight these narratives are men like your Bill Cosbys, your Robert Townsends, your Spike Lees. These men have made active efforts to try to fight this fight, and we need more black-owned, black media owned and controlled by black men to continue fighting against this propaganda which has been promoted in not only mainstream white media like Solo, a Star Wars story, but also promoted in black media, which is controlled by the mainstream white corporations. Institutions like your Ebonies, your Jets, your websites like theroot.com and Naturally Moi and many of these other black websites that many people feature a black subject matter oftentimes are not owned by black people and not controlled by black people. And they all, because they're not owned and controlled by black people, what happens is these sites oftentimes are used to create propaganda to attack black men and to present negative stories about black men that are designed to malign the image of black men. And in many cases, many of these articles feature falsified information or not even well-researched information. And when people read this subject matter, they oftentimes get a false picture of black life and a false picture of black men. And that's why, again, we need black-owned, black media, owned and controlled by black men. And when I look at what they did to Lando Calrissian in Solo, a Star Wars story, this is one of the things that makes me more motivated to continue building this SJS Direct publishing imprint. Because only on a place like the SJS Direct publishing imprint can many black men get to see a positive character like a John Haynes, who is a heterosexual black man, be presented as a responsible, capable, intelligent black man in media. Because in a story like The Temptation of John Haynes or The Man Who Rules the World, that is the only place we can see a black man presented as a leader, as the CEO of a corporation like Morris Phillips, and a man who takes charge of his own life as he takes on these dark forces like these vampires and these demons and these monsters in the world and tackle the issues in the black community. And on a publication imprint like the SJS Direct, this is the only place where you can usually see a black man being a father and a leader of his household. When I write stories like All About Nikki, The Fabulous First Season, and write scripts for shows like All About Nikki, The Fabulous First Season, I show you a black father taking charge of his family, controlling his household, and show you a picture of a black man in a place like Beverly Hills, a place that you will never see in many cases a black man all the time in your mainstream media. And when I do other stories like A Recipe for Success, you can also see a black father having authority over a black-owned business and a father passing his business on to his daughter. So these are the kind of stories that I feature in my black media, because when I look at mainstream media, they don't tell those stories about black men in media, and they don't make efforts to give you those kind of images of black men in media, because those images of black men in media, those images are the equal of a white man in media. And white supremacist media does not want you to see a black man being a leader, an authority figure, and someone who is capable of doing things like running a corporation, a black-owned business, or being a man who can be someone that other boys and young men can look up to. No, when it comes down to white supremacy, white supremacists want you to look up at white men and worship them as gods, and not see black men as men who are human beings in their own communities. And they don't want you to see these type of stories, because if you see the type of stories like I write, like The Temptation of John Haynes, or stories like in the ISIS series like Bride of Dracula and Escape from Transylvania, Night of the Vampires, where you see a black man at the side of a black woman, you may start getting inspired by those stories, and you may start seeing ideas for what you can be and how you can actualize your potential from a black boy to becoming a healthy, heterosexual black man. No, they don't want that type of media out there, because that type of media, again, inspires boys and young men to become strong, confident men. And white supremacy does not want us to see strong, confident, capable, responsible black men in mainstream media. And that's why they don't always go out of their way to promote these men in drag, in dresses, these homosexual black men, and these effeminized black men, and these beta black males. And they go out of their way to go out here, and now these days with this Solo, a Star Wars story, go out here trying to promote the whole idea of a black male being associated with sexual deviancy. The only place you're going to get to see positive images of black men, heterosexual black men, is in black-owned, black media, owned and controlled by black men like myself, because black men like myself want to see stories that reflect our experiences, our lives, our communities, and we want to see stories that give young people a picture that is accurate of them and accurate of their experiences, something you won't get from these big six media corporations, because when it comes down to these big six media corporations, they have an agenda as related to black people, and they have an agenda as related to the image of black people. And the image that they have of heterosexual black men seems to be that they're trying to effeminize it, homosexualize it, or now turn the image of the black man back into the image of the sexual deviant that many of these racist and white supremacists had back in the 1930s and before that, during the Jim Crow period. And they want to turn the clock back, because this is how they want to see black men. But heterosexual black men, we have to stand our ground, we have to dig in the trenches, and we have to start laying and building the foundation for black-owned, black media, owned and controlled by black men, like I'm doing with this SJS Direct imprint. And we all have to go out of our way to support the expansion of black-owned, black media, like the SJS Direct imprint. Because when it comes down to black-owned, black media, owned and controlled by black men, again, this is one of the only places you're going to see a positive image of black men, a balanced image of heterosexual black men, a promotion of black male heterosexuality, a promotion of humanized black male heterosexuality, and a balanced, humanized picture of black men, black manhood, and black masculinity, and stories that promote positive black manhood and black masculinity for audiences all over the world, and promotes a narrative that black men are human beings, black men are capable leaders, black men are extremely responsible, black men are extremely conscientious, and media that shows us in the most positive light and refutes many of the false narratives out there promoted by your mainstream media and the racists and white supremacists who control mainstream media. If you would like to try some of my SJS Direct publications that feature positive images of black men, like The Temptation of John Haynes, ISIS Wrath of the Cyber Goddess, ISIS Bride of Dracula, ISIS Night of the Vampires, ISIS Escape from Transylvania, and The Man Who Rules the World, in addition to my nonfiction like the Simp series, which is designed to improve the quality of lives for black men, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com in the description box. And if you want to help me make more videos and promote more positive publications like my upcoming John Haynes series, you may donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.